I never imagined I'd be writing something like this. For years, my little sister and I were inseparable. Growing up, everyone called us best friends before sisters. We shared clothes, secrets, heartbreaks, and even apartments during college. If someone had asked me who I trusted most in the world besides my parents, I would have answered her name without hesitation. Denis Matitan. We've been together for almost 4 years. We had an apartment together, 2 cats, and had started talking about engagement rings. My parents adored him. My friends thought he was perfect. Even my sister always joked that I'd won the boyfriend lottery. Looking back, I wonder if the signs were always there and I just refused to see them. It started with little things. Whenever we had family dinners, Ethan somehow always volunteered to help my sister in the kitchen instead of staying with everyone else. If she posted a photo online, he liked it within minutes. They had inside jokes I didn't understand. Whenever I questioned it, they'd laugh and call me paranoid. She's practically my sister too, Ethan would say. I believed him. Because why wouldn't I? 3 months before everything exploded, our family planned a huge reunion at my grandparents' lake house. Nearly 40 relatives were coming. My cousins were flying in from different states, and everyone was excited. The week before the reunion, work became overwhelming for me. I had late meetings almost every evening, while Ethan was working remotely. One afternoon, I came home unexpectedly because my meeting had been canceled. Ethan wasn't there. His laptop sat open on the dining table. I wasn't trying to snoop. I only wanted to close the lid because our cat was walking across the keyboard. That's when a message notification popped up. Emily Redhart. Emily, my sister. The preview simply read, I can't stop thinking about last night. My stomach instantly dropped. I opened the conversation. I wish I hadn't. Months. There were months of messages. Flirting. Photos. Inside jokes. Plans. Then I found hotel reservations. Pictures of them together. Videos. Even conversations about how guilty they felt whenever I talked about marriage. I honestly don't remember breathing. Everything became blurry. When Ethan finally came home, he froze the second he saw his laptop open. He didn't even ask what I'd seen. He just whispered, I'm so sorry. I threw his phone at the wall. Then I screamed louder than I ever had in my life. He admitted everything. It had started emotionally. Then it became physical. According to him, it happened after one family barbecue 6 months earlier. 6 months. Half a year of lies. Half a year of pretending everything was normal. I packed a suitcase and left that same night. The next morning, I called my sister. She answered cheerfully. Hey, what's up? I asked one question. How long? Silence. Then she started crying. She confessed almost immediately. She kept repeating, it wasn't supposed to happen. It just happened. We never meant to hurt you. Those words still make me angry. Cheating doesn't just happen. Hundreds of decisions happened first. I hung up without saying goodbye. For the next 2 weeks, my family split into sides. My parents begged me to forgive Emily because family is forever. My aunt said relationships come and go, but sisters are irreplaceable. My cousins were furious on my behalf. My grandmother refused to believe Emily could do something like that. Meanwhile, Ethan kept sending apology letters, flowers, emails, voice messages. He claimed he'd ended things with Emily and wanted another chance. I blocked him everywhere. The family reunion was still scheduled. I told everyone I wasn't coming. Then my grandmother called. She sounded heartbroken. This might be my last reunion. Please don't let their mistakes keep you away. I love my grandmother too much to say no. So I agreed. I arrived early Saturday morning. The atmosphere was already tense. People kept avoiding eye contact. Everyone knew. Within an hour, Ethan showed up. Apparently, my sister had invited him before everything came out, and nobody had thought to uninvite him. The second I saw his car pull into the driveway, I almost got back into mine. Then Emily arrived. She stepped out looking terrified. No one spoke. 40 people stood there pretending to admire the lake while secretly waiting for the inevitable explosion. Dinner started in complete silence. You could hear forks hitting plates. Nobody laughed. Nobody told stories. Finally, my uncle tried to break the tension. So, anyone planning vacations this summer? Nobody answered. Then Ethan stood up. I think I owe everyone an apology. I immediately stood. No, you owe me one. Everyone else already knows. He looked around nervously before saying he wanted to take responsibility. Then, unbelievably, Emily started crying. She grabbed my hand. I'm sorry. I never wanted this. I pulled my hand away. If you never wanted this, you had 6 months to stop. The room went completely silent. Even the kids stopped talking. Emily kept crying. I love you. I laughed. No, you love yourself. She looked shattered. But I wasn't finished. I turned toward Ethan. You spent 4 years promising we'd build a future together. Then I looked at both of them. You deserve each other. That's when my mother suddenly interrupted. Please, not here. I stared at her. Not here. Where exactly should I talk about my boyfriend sleeping with my sister? Several relatives quietly nodded. Others looked horrified. Then my father did something no one expected. He stood up, looked directly at Ethan, and calmly said, I think it's time for you to leave. Ethan tried arguing. I just wanted to explain. Dad pointed toward the driveway. Leave. Ethan looked at Emily, clearly expecting her to defend him. She didn't. Instead, she kept staring at the floor. Without another word, Ethan got into his car and drove away. The silence afterwards somehow felt even louder. For a few seconds, nobody moved. My father sat back down without saying another word. My grandmother quietly folded her napkin and looked around the table. I think everyone deserves some honesty tonight, she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried across the entire room. She turned to Emily. Is there anything else we should know? Emily wiped her eyes and nodded. There is. My stomach tightened. Ah, Ethan and I are together. A few relatives gasped. Someone at the end of the table muttered, You got to be kidding. Emily continued. We've been officially dating since she left him. The timing of those words hit me like another punch. Not only had they been sneaking around for months, but they hadn't even waited after I moved out. My aunt, who had spent 2 weeks telling me to forgive my sister, suddenly looked speechless. My cousin Ryan shook his head. So this wasn't some mistake. Emily didn't answer. He repeated himself. This was a choice. She looked down. Oh, yes. For the first time all evening, nobody defended her. Not my mother. Not my aunt. Not anyone. The illusion that this had been a one-time accident disappeared in an instant. Dinner ended early. Groups of relatives wandered outside to the lake, whispering to each other. I walked down to the dock by myself. I needed air. About 10 minutes later, my grandmother joined me. She sat beside me without saying anything. Finally, she sighed. When I asked you to come today, I hoped maybe everyone could start healing. I smiled sadly. I don't think healing starts with pretending nothing happened. She nodded. You're right. Then she surprised me. You don't owe anyone forgiveness. I looked at her. She continued. Forgiveness is a gift, not a debt. Those words stayed with me. Back at the house, Emily asked if we could talk privately. Every instinct told me to walk away. Instead, I followed her to the backyard. She looked exhausted. I know you'll never trust me again. I didn't respond. She took a deep breath. I was jealous. I frowned. Jealous of what? You. I almost laughed. She explained that growing up, everyone compared us. I was older. I finished college first. I got the better job. I bought a house before she did. Denis Matitan. According to her, watching everyone celebrate our relationship made her feel invisible. It wasn't really about him at first, she admitted. It was about proving I could have something that belonged to you. Hearing that honestly made me feel sick. So you destroyed our relationship because of a competition I didn't even know we were having? She started crying again. I know how horrible that sounds. It is horrible. There wasn't another way to describe it. She asked whether there was anything she could ever do to fix things. I answered honestly, no. That wasn't me trying to hurt her. It was simply the truth. Some betrayals change the entire foundation of a relationship. This was one of them. The reunion ended the following morning. As everyone packed their cars, my mother pulled me aside. She looked exhausted. "I owe you an apology." I waited. "I kept asking you to forgive because I was afraid I'd lose one of my daughters." "You already did." Tears filled her eyes. "I know." For the first time since everything happened, I hugged my mom. Not because everything was okay, but because she had finally stopped asking me to carry everyone else's emotional burden. Over the next several months, life slowly settled down. I finalized the breakup with Ethan. The apartment was sold. We split the furniture through lawyers because neither of us wanted another face-to-face meeting. I also started therapy. Not because I blamed myself, but because betrayal like that leaves scars you can't always see. Family gatherings became smaller. Sometimes Emily attended. Sometimes I did. Never together. Eventually, everyone stopped trying to force a reunion between us. People finally accepted that boundaries are not the same as revenge. About 8 months later, I received an unexpected text from an unknown number. It was Ethan. He wrote, "I made the biggest mistake of my life. Emily and I broke up. I miss you every day." I stared at the message for a full minute. Then I deleted it without replying. A mutual friend later told me that once the excitement of the affair disappeared, Ethan and Emily started distrusting each other. Apparently, each of them wondered if the other was cheating. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The relationship that had been built on lies eventually collapsed under the weight of those same lies. As for me, life became surprisingly peaceful. I adopted another rescue cat. I accepted a promotion at work. I traveled alone for the first time and discovered I actually enjoyed my own company. More importantly, I stopped measuring my happiness by whether someone else chose me. A year after the reunion, my grandmother celebrated her birthday. Emily wasn't there. Neither was Ethan. The atmosphere felt lighter than it had in years. At one point, my grandmother squeezed my hand and smiled. "You look happy." I realized she was right. Not because everything had gone back to normal. It never would. But because I'd stopped waiting for an apology that could never undo the damage. Sometimes people ask whether I regret cutting my sister out of my life. The answer is no. Losing a relationship hurts. Losing trust hurts even more. But constantly surrounding yourself with people who betray you hurts the most. Blood may make you family, but loyalty is what keeps a family together. And once loyalty is gone, sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is walk away and never look back.